This Week with Bob Mueller on News 2.
This week,
we usually know where violence is coming from.
With Election Day approaching, a conversation with Metro Council member and mayoral candidate Freddie O'Connell. The special session on public safety brings the white supremacist Proud Boys to town, opposing any gun legislation, while moms demand action gather, urging lawmakers to approve common sense gun reform.
Are we going to quiet down and listen, or are we going to sit there and clap?
New rules limit the audience size, ban signs, and resulted in Covenant school families being removed from committee meetings.
There's also dead kids and grieving people looking for solutions.
Despite polls showing an overwhelming majority of Tennesseans support common sense gun reform, the power of the gun lobby so far stops passage of any such legislation.
This is not a new program. It's something that has been in place.
The legislation that did win approval, free gun locks, a TBI human trafficking report, and speedier background check information are already in place. Hello again and welcome to another edition of This Week. Early voting is underway and we're less than 3 weeks away from Nashville choosing a new mayor. Tonight, a conversation with mayoral candidate Freddie O'Connell. But we begin with lawmakers returning for the special session on public safety, while activists for and against gun reform make their voices heard. It's been nearly 150 days of tears, protests, and debates, and now, months after the Covenant school shooting, lawmakers return for a special legislative session on public safety. But instead of a discussion of gun violence, the session began with limiting the audience size, banning signs, and new rules for who can speak, when, and how. It sparked a fierce debate.
From the streets to the lobby, to the House chamber, hundreds calling for lawmakers to reform Tennessee's gun laws.
Assembly of the State of Tennessee, now in extraordinary session.
But on the floor, a different debate impassioned lawmakers, not on the Second Amendment, but the First.
We did not come up here for this special session to limit speech of the members of this body. We came up here to tackle a problem, or at least some of us thought we were going to.
The Republican supermajority setting rules for the special session, banning a member from speaking again if they go off topic. And if the same member continues to do that, they can be stopped from speaking on the floor for days at a time. The rules also limiting bringing signs to the gallery.
They're saying with these rules that the folks who want you to know what they think are not deserving of being heard. That's not democracy.
But Republicans say these rules allow for debate and therefore promote democracy.
It is also not completely a free speech arena. This is not the public arena. So you can't just shout out anything you like or say anything. It is supposed to be on the subject that we're debating.
Does someone who speaks uncivilly have a right to continue speaking? Not in my view, they don't, respectfully.
And after expelling 2 members from the chamber last spring for holding a protest on the House floor, Republicans argue this is a new and less severe punishment if that happens again.
And under these rules, we've got to have something that says you can't, one person, one member of this House of Representatives, stop the proceedings.
There was also an attempt to end the special session entirely. It was not successful.
Outside the Capitol, protesters like the white supremacist pro-gun group Proud Boys, some hiding their faces behind masks, gathered, as did gun reform demonstrators like pediatricians and Moms Demand Action.
Firearms are now the #1 leading cause of death in children in the United States.
This morning, that chilling data was sent to every state lawmaker.
We will be hand delivering a letter with over 1,100 physician signatures.
Tennessee doctors went from office to office, making their message clear: stricter gun laws.
I'm also a mass shooting survivor of the 2017 Las Vegas massacre.
But activists on the other side are calling for stronger mental health resources.
We oppose ERPOs and red flag laws because they are dangerous and unnecessary. You are your own first responder, all day, every day.
Alongside peaceful protesters, lawmakers on both sides of the aisle stood in solidarity.
I will never forget that day.
That day changed my thinking and my politics.
Actress Melissa Joan Hart also taking a stance with Moms Demand Action, calling on stricter gun laws. Her tie to the shooting, she was near the school that day.
I stand here today as a resident of Nashville, Tennessee, someone who not only lives near the Covenant School, but who witnessed and even helped a kindergarten class escape to safety almost 6 months ago.
Day 2 of the special session was tense as Republican lawmakers kicked people out of committees, killed bills related to mental health and state gun laws, and mocked members of their own party. News 2's Adam Mincer with more on one meeting that ended with mothers in tears.
After warnings from the Republican chairman,
Are we going to quiet down and listen, or are we going to sit there and clap?
Audience members were kicked out for clapping during a subcommittee hearing. This came after troopers removed women for holding paper signs, a breach of the rules set by the Republican supermajority Monday.
We're going to conduct the state's business, or we're going to clear the room, okay? That's your last warning.
Some of them, moms of children who went to the Covenant School.
Would it be possible to just clear the half that's causing the trouble?
I don't know that we can determine the half, so let's just clear the room.
It was the first time Covenant mom Sarah Newman was at a committee meeting.
We're here for 6 people that were killed at our school. We're just trying to do something.
Newman was let back in to testify, but said just being at the Capitol this week is hard, especially when you're advocating for a cause that's so personal.
I don't think they understand the courage that it takes to get up here and sit in those rooms and face those people, knowing they don't agree with you on it, but you've got to try.
House Democratic Caucus Chair John Ray Clemens was in the room at the time and left with the audience.
It's really concerning when you have your colleagues who are so drunk on power that they feel like they can do anything and treat people with complete disrespect.
Newman says now is the time to focus on why they came to the State House in the first place.
The climate's just got to cool down on both sides. People are so angry. People are so angry. They're just, it's the right and the left, and they're just coming at each other, and they're mad, and we cannot have a productive conversation like this. And we need to. I know they're mad at each other. I know they're frustrated. I know there's big personalities. There's also dead kids and grieving people looking for solutions.
Day 3 turned angry.
Bill.
Laid on the table.
After bill.
On the table.
After bill.
The remaining bills on today's calendar are laid on the table.
Meeting the same fate in the Tennessee Senate. Tabled, leaving only a handful of legislation with a chance of becoming law. The only one mentioning firearms, directing the Department of Safety to provide free gun locks upon request, which they already do.
This is not a new program. It's something that has been in place.
But in the House, bills are still being hotly debated. And Covenant parents are telling lawmakers their kids' stories. Mary Joyce spoke on behalf of the parents of Covenant victim William Kinney. They support a bill to put protocols in place in case a fire alarm is activated due to an active shooter.
My son diligently did his duty as the line leader of his class that day, attempting to lead them to safety. And I am so proud of him. But he gave his life for it, and none of our lives will ever be the same.
Parents also spoke against a bill that would expand who can carry a gun on school grounds, saying teachers shouldn't be armed.
There was a shootout of 150 plus rounds on the second floor that day, which my son heard and smelled the gunpowder of. He knows what they are. He has 2 guns himself. He knew that he was about to die. One of the kids in the classroom grabbed the Bible and he started reading scripture because they knew they were next.
Our teacher had the wherewithal when she realized that what they thought they needed to do for a fire alarm was actually an active shooter, to turn it into a race, to not scare my 5-year-old, to get back into school and back into his safe place. In those precious moments, they had to run back in school, lock the door with the Barracuda bar and expound the shade, get into a hallway bathroom and keep those children quiet.
The special session resumes on Monday. The other big news of the week, Donald Trump's mugshot after he surrendered in Fulton County, Georgia, accused of trying to overturn that state's 2020 election results. Stay with us. This week continues in a moment, and a conversation with Nashville mayoral candidate Freddie O'Connell.